Welcome to the Midnight Walk, a story about grief, friendship, and hope set in a world full of wonder and quiet terror. I was drawn to this game because of the clay-made models and the hauntingly beautiful atmosphere. There's something about the claymation, it gives the whole experience a handmade, dreamlike quality I just had to explore. What I didn't expect was how profoundly the story would resonate with me and how it stirs so many emotions at once. And I'm clearly not alone in that. The Midnight Walk received overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam in less than 1 month after its release. This is also the first video I've made in nearly a decade. It's completely different from what I used to do, so if you are still here and you are still interested in my content, let me know. Today I want to walk this strange, beautiful path with you and allow you to experience it for yourself.
After the end of the world, the burnt one woke from a deep slumber, broken, deaf, and blinded.
You start as the burnt one. You are reborn into a world swallowed by darkness. There's a lot of symbolism in this game, and from the very beginning it's clear. As the burnt one, you bring hope into the world. You carry fire, which represents hope, memory, grief, warmth, and danger, all at once. As you light your first match, the flame flickers, then burns, and you begin to wake the world around you. Every creature reacts differently to fire and has a different story in relation to it. Keeping hope alive in a world full of darkness, mystery, and evil is something very challenging to do. That's when you meet Podboy. You learn it's your destiny to bring him to Moon Mountain by going on the Midnight Walk, to try and bring the sun back. Podboy is scared at first, but after feeding him multiple times, he begins to trust you. And with that, a friendship begins. Early on, you also learn something heartbreaking. Podboy is the last of his kind. Every other one like him died on their own midnight walk, trying to fulfill the same mission. And now, he's the last hope.
How rare! A little pot boy. This is already the end. Your pot boy, the last ember of the work table that was. It is inevitable. We must all partake. Your purpose burnt into clay. Your pot boy must spread his fire.
If you pay close attention, you realize you're reliving a cycle. This isn't the first time the bird one has walked this path, and we are told quietly but clearly that Podboy is destined to die. Despite that, you begin to work together, solving puzzles, lighting flames, and slowly learning what you can and cannot do with fire. The world is filled with dangers, creatures that chase you, try to eat you alive, or leave you trembling as you hide from them in the dark. Eventually, you meet Housie, who isn't just a shelter, but something more. Podboy brings him to life, and he becomes your companion too, a warm, safe space in a cold, unpredictable world. Together, you head towards Moon Mountain. And that's when you first meet the Soul Fisher, a strange, wise character who appears again and again on your journey.
Fire? Hey, I'd almost forgotten how it felt.
He always appears after a tale as if watching, quietly guiding, and that brings us to the second tale.
You're the caretaker of this little firecracker? I reckon you must be headed for Moon Mountain.
Really think you're somebody, huh? On your tall legs, with your.
What some funny heads, I thought, stepping into this part of the game. And my favorite,
Stick. It's my favorite stick in the whole wild world. It's the best one in my collection. I got no better stick than this stick. My stick! Give it back! No!
you're probably wondering, just like I was, what happened to their bodies? And why are they making these weird comments about someone being in Nobodyville when clearly there's a somebody there? Shouldn't it be renamed Somebodyville at this point? Alright, you get the idea. Then you meet the headmaster.
For war!
And their problem.
That's the murder!
The Morgrim is attacking them. They say if you help stop him, they'll give you the key to open the next gate in your journey.
Nobody will.
Sounds simple, right? But there's one issue. You find out the Morgrim is mourning. He lost his partner and it starts to feel like maybe this isn't just a monster story. A body is revived. It tells Potboy and the Burnt One that the Morgrim's cauldron needs to be reignited with 3 missing shards. Each shard is tied to a creature that stole from the Morgrim.
Burn.
First, the ragdolls. Then a nobody, one of their own, who confesses her guilt and gives you a shard herself.
Now, maybe put it back where it belongs and. Yeah. Goodbye.
This makes you wonder, what really happened here? Was the other Morgrim killed by the nobodies? Then comes the Moon Mord, who has the last shard and the whole truth.
For time immemorial, the Mogrims had lived in the valley in peace, sharing good eatings and howlings around their fire, which they had inherited from the skies. Then one terrible night came the violent somebodies. They hunted the Mogrims for sport and took their fire for themselves. But the somebodies knew not what they were dealing with, for as soon as they held the fire in their grubby hands, they began to fight one another with it. To save themselves from themselves, the cunning heads turned on their bodies and organized a great meeting. And so it was that somebodies became nobodies. So now, an opportunity to return and take bloody vengeance upon the heads who are now left defenseless without their bodies. Of the Mogrim begins anew. A storied meal indeed. Moonbird thanks you for feeding her and proudly upholds the promise. A gift. A shard from the Mogrim's own cauldron. It looked so shiny in the moonlight. Moonbird simply had to take it.
The Bird One and Podboy return to Morgrim's cave to deliver the shards. Now, you know, the creature, feared and hated, is acting from a place of deep loss, grief, anger, revenge, his whole race nearly destroyed. My heart broke for the Morgrim. They're noble, ancient beings tied to something cosmic, and the nobodies, full of jealousy, turned against them. They sought to steal the Morgrim's fire, and in doing so, nearly wiped them out. Then they rejected their bodies, claimed they were too impulsive, too obsessed with the sun's power. You return to Nobodyville and they give you the key, and later their bodies return too. You meet the Soul Fisher again, and he says something that stayed with me.
So do not despair. Should you once again lose your way along the midnight walk, you're probably meant to.
You enter the third tale, one marked by shame, loss, and the haunting remnants of a city that turned against one of its own. You hear about a girl and a cat.
Then the cat saw it. Rooftops piercing the sky. Approaching the town, she was greeted by a crone. Come, kitty, kitty, you must be tired. Sit in my lap. Share your soft fur, and I shall warm you for a spell.
Hello, Mother. The well said to give it a match, so you and I could talk again. I hope this works, because that was my last one, and well, it's cold now. But it doesn't matter. We can finally talk after everything. So, how are you? Do they have fire where you are? Not the hellish kind, I hope. Is Father there too? I think you should talk to him again. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I know he loves you still. I love you. Still. I can't feel my hands. I can't feel anything.
Your guide for the night tells you their furnace has gone cold. A thief stole all their matches, and they need your help to bring the fire back.
Matches. Wasted them in greed, you see.
To do that, you'll need to find and return all the bones of the thief to the grave. Only then can the curse be broken and the furnace burned once again.
The cat didn't like the crone's crude pettings. Her hands tugged at her fur. Now, rest still, the crone said, as she pulled out a crooked knife. The cat was quick and escaped just in time.
While we learned more about the cat's backstory, I want to take a moment and say this part of the game has some of the best gameplay mechanics in the entire game. In the graveyard, the bird one must close his eyes to avoid the monster chasing him. The game supports VR, and while I played the regular version, I've heard that in VR with eye tracking, this section is incredibly immersive. You actually have to close your own eyes when the monster appears, but also to listen to the next bone. With another bone found, the bird one and pot boy return to the grave. On the way, they discover a recording, angry voices calling for the thief's capture.
Passion. How will we warm the furnace? Feed the thief to the furnace.
A thief. The thief loved the stars. Would have plucked them out of the sky if it were possible. But the dark itself stole her stars, turned the thief's sky as black as a cup of joe. And so the thief began to steal matches and lit them, hundreds of them, like little stars of her own.
The guide tells you the thief loved stars, so she stole matches, hundreds of them, just to create stars of her own. Which raises a difficult question. Was he talking about a girl? The Birdman and Podboy follow the trail up the hill through the city's ghosts, ragdolls of those who once lived there, each sharing fragments of the past.
Burn them like they burnt our hope. We're running out of matches. You've met your match thief. You'll burn for what you did.
They reach a house, now locked, burned down. A ragdoll stands in front of it, the woman who lived there.
What's... Oh, this isn't my body. The fire, did we snuff it out? Where's... Did I save them? The house. It's ruined. Well, it wasn't supposed to go down that way. They locked the door, threw the key into the woods. Huh. There was so much anger, and now there's nothing.
She asks you to find the key, but something feels off. Why did the townspeople burn her house? Was she the thief, or was it the girl? Did they burn them all together out of anger? The Burnwan and Podboy find the key and unlock the door.
Unlock the door. Please. I want to see my home again.
Inside the recording plays.
Furnace is getting weak. Council says we're running out of matches.
We'll have to harvest more trees then.
I don't like it. Losing the forest like this.
Not like we have a choice.
Mom, Dad,
Oh, Curly, you startled me.
they're coming here. All of them.
What's that you're holding?
It's just a match.
The girl, young and full of wonder, had brought a match to her family. And when the town found out, they burned the house. They locked her family inside.
With no matches left, we couldn't light the furnace. And the thief paid a terrible price for her burning greed. As the furnace died, one by one, so did we. But before we perished, the dark itself moved into our hollow husk, turning us cold and wicked. If I had a heart, I'd feel great shame for what we did. I'd feel great shame for what we did.
The guide admits what happened. He says there's still one man left, and one final bone to retrieve. As the Bird One and Podboy search, they meet more ragdolls. Each one echoes the same thought. I feel shame for what we did.
One left. He carries the shame of us all.
The old man showed us the way to their home. He didn't know it was her. Otherwise, he'd kept it secret.
They reach the old man.
Oh, that voice. What I wouldn't give to hear her sing again. Those sweet, sweet tunes like fallen leaves of the trees that were.
He asks you for one thing. Bring him the melody keeping head of clay so he can hear the girl sing one last time. The Bird One and Podboy go on one last search. And after facing a few more challenges, they find it. They return to the old man.
Little soul, you charming little wanderer, my life's companion and body's guest. Where are you off to now?
He gives them the final piece, the skull. And yet, you may be wondering, what happened to the cat?
The girl offered her burning match, her last star. But the cat could tell she needed it all for herself. Grateful for her unconditional kindness, the cat left her to her ghosts.
With all the bones returned, it's time. The Bird One and Podboy light the furnace. And releases the girl, highlighting her last star.
The match. Light it. Please. One last star. Thank you.
You hear a purr. Could it be the cat? You move through a wardrobe. almost like Narnia, and hear the narrator say,
The cat finally settled in front of a giant burning furnace. In its bright flames, she could glimpse a dark future. This did not matter to her, for now she was eternally warm and at peace.
This was the story of Coldhaven, of a girl, a cat, and the shame of a town. Now we walk forward into the next tale. We've now walked through two tales that show how life has changed since the sun disappeared, how different beings have been shaped by the absence of light, and we are still asking the same question: what happened to the sun? Throughout the Midnight Walk, you meet Soulfisher several times, and you start to wonder, who is he really? You hear mentions of the Maker too, of a work table, but what does it all mean?
There's a fella who watches over the Midnight Walk, pointy hat and hollow gaze. He's been around longer than you or I. Some say he was one of the first sculptures to have breath. Some say he's not from around here, but from another maker's work table entirely. Some say he's seen what lies beyond Moon Mountain, but I just think he's lost like the rest of us, and he's waiting for the right one to come along, waiting for something that'll give him that eureka for his song. He keeps his banjo by his side, but he never plays it. Strange, but he's in no hurry. He's got all the time in the world.
Ah, heck, it ain't my place to tell you how to tend your flame. I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll be just fine. Ah, to feel at home wherever you walk. How's it? What a friend to have on the road, huh? Now, there's an open door invitation, if I've ever seen one. Go on in then. Get some rest. I'll keep watch.
The Bird One and Boat Boy try to rest, but Housie, their safe space, is taken. They rush to save him, facing new monsters along the way. What stuck with me here is how the game subtly shifts. Earlier you'd hide, you'd run from monsters, but now you face them, you blink and stop them. Maybe it's just a mechanic, or maybe it's something more, a metaphor for growing courage, the strength to confront the darkness directly. This is the tale of the craftsman, the one who steals Housie from you.
How far you have come, and on you go, like a moth into the burning light. But behold, a craftsman, one of the first beings ever to wander the clay. Like you, his heart is ashen, barren, yet ripe for tasty stories.
Moonbird appears and asks you to light the craftsman's heart and to feed him in return. What I love about this tale is how it's told. Parts of it unfold through short, real life puppet films projected inside the game.
Theater fools.
More stories.
Stories. How I cherish them. Real as clay, as palpable as the midnight air. They're all we have left once the dark has taken the last campfire from us. The projectors tell a story of failure. The craftsman projects it onto his creations. He keeps building, building without love for his craft. He needs to see it.
You learn the craftsman is lonely. He creates endlessly but without love. He is consumed by grief. His city is hollow, his sculptures empty, and you begin to wonder, why is he like this? What happened to his fire? Then you learn he had a daughter. He made her to rule the city, but soon you notice something. She has sisters, failed replicas. You even hear one whisper, I wish I was the first one. And it makes you wonder, did he try to replace her? Why wasn't she enough? As you travel through the city, you see the sisters hiding. They're frightened, silent, overlooked. The city is crawling with monsters and grief.
Shh, it's starting. Look at these sorry reflections of the daughter. None of them will ever dance. Ever feel the warmth of their maker's heart. They can never be enough.
His daughter didn't want to rule. She had her own dreams, so she left. And in her absence, he tried to fill the void with more daughters, more creations, and none of them were truly seen. Then his heart grew cold.
The father hoped the daughter would fill his heart with fire, failing to see that she needed a fire of her own. His princess danced away, and he stayed behind, cemented in his ancient doom. The heart is a bottomless pit, never sated, always craving for more. Enough. Keep on walking the midnight walking, borderline, all the way to your infernal doom.
The moonbird watches all of this and laughs, enjoying the pain, then asks you again to light the craftsman's heart, to feed him. You do it, you bring the craftsman's fire back, and in return, he gives you Housie. You freed him from the hollow city he built with love long forgotten. The Birdman, Podboy and Housie continue their journey towards Moon Mountain.
The Wanderer asked the craftsman, "How do you make such perfect sculptures?" To which he replied, "Oh, there's nothing to it really. I go into the dark woods. I find the sculpture already waiting inside a tree. And then it's just a matter of carving it out."
You're close now. The Moon Mountain rises in the distance. Podboy is excited. After such a long journey, after saving so many rekindling fires, restoring hope in a world that tries to forget it, this moment feels humbling. But then, something terrible happens. Podboy, overcome with excitement, sets fire to Housie. It's quick, it's accidental, but it's devastating. Podboy, hurt and ashamed, runs. You try to follow, but the darkness takes him. Part of Podboy, his heart, his joy, falls into the shadows. You find it, you bring it back to him, but something's different. The part of him has been touched by darkness. Podboy is scared, but he runs again. and you, as the bird one, chase after him. Then the soul fissure appears once more.
Whoa there! You look like you're about to move a mountain. That's what I get for trying to get in the way of a flame and its destination. Let him walk his walk. Ain't nothing gonna stop him now.
He tells you, Boy must walk his own path, and you have a decision to make. But don't make it with your mind, make it with your heart.
Is for you alone. You have a tough decision ahead of you to make, just like the ones who came before. But they're all long gone. In the end, all there's left to follow is your own heart.
You the caretaker of this little fireball? What were you thinking, letting him run off? Don't you...
You find Merkel. She tells you that Hausie, your home, was once hers. But Hausie left.
One day, I woke up to the noise of quivering planks and nails. And would you believe it was my own house leaving me? It had gotten so restless it grew a pair of legs, took a name, and went on a hike. Housie was its name, bless its soul. Houses have no imagination. But I bet it had a grander adventure than I could ever imagine.
Podway can't bear it. He runs again. You chase him one final time.
And safe, and you'll always find yourself in the right place.
And this time, the darkness takes both of you.
What is the dark? Is it ugly and cruel? Is it a place for monstrosities, for fools lost in the woods? A terrible void where all your nightmares come true. The dark could be a friend, perhaps a space where we might find each other, all of us equal under its cloak. The dark could be an embrace and the release of the old, like taking off a tight shoe, laying bare one's feet, and taking a first step onto a new adventure. The dark could be a moment of clarity and calm, a break through icy clouds and the shameful stories we tell ourselves that fetter us to the clay and mud. The dark could be the space and time that we need to recover from the death of a dream and the quiet promise of new beginnings waiting on the other side of grief. dark remains a mystery, its secrets locked away behind the stars. But one can rest assured that it is always there, watching, patiently waiting for us to enter it, with fire in our hearts and with eyes wide open.
You hear what the darkness truly is, how it shaped everyone, how it touches everything, even those who bring light. But it doesn't break you. The Bird One and Podboy, together again, step through the dark. They've walked the long road, and at last they arrive at the Moon Mountain.
You've arrived. Hark! Your fire is dying, but the last embers will light the final fireplace and send your potboy home. Can you do what you must? Naturally, you must. It is destined, and you will be loved and forgotten.
While climbing Moon Mountain, something changes. You begin to notice other podboys, shattered, silent, broken. They had walked this path too, tried to save the world, tried to bring back the sun, and failed.
And it just won't come back. I'm thinking.
The Bird One and Podboy push through the final storm. The white light is almost blinding. The winds rage all around them, podboys scared, frozen in fear, and then they reach it. The sun, confined in clay. Podboy tries to light it, but he can reach it. And that's when, could it be Housie? You are presented with the final choice, the one you've known from the beginning. Burn or stop. If you choose to burn, you bring back the sun. You kill all the monsters, you restore life. You do what all those before you couldn't. You fulfill your destiny. And you sacrifice Potboy, the Bird One, and Housie with it. If you choose stop, you continue walking. You keep Housey and Podboy and the burnt one alive. You restore what hope you can, one light at a time. You protect the creatures. You try to keep a fragile balance between dark and light, but the risk remains. Will the darkness take you too? I chose to burn, to restore life, to bring back hope fully, rather than let others suffer. Yet the question still remains, who took the sun? Inside Housey you can watch the films you collected. They tell the story of Merkel, who also walked the midnight walk, asking the same question. She demanded answers from the darkness, and the darkness simply said,
Who took the sun away? It then asked the Merkel. Its voice sounded like a dark forest, deep and ancient. It wasn't you, the Merkel retorted. You're its complete opposite. Surely you must be the reason it's gone. The dark then replied, I am but the absence of light, not its adversary. Light is because I am. How could I possibly hold it in my possession? The Merkel felt her anger fade. She understood little besides one thing, that the darkness was not behind the missing sun, nor her suffering.
Merkel realized she was to focus on who took the light, that she forgot to notice the journey, the people she met, the grief she shared, the love she found. Just like Podboy, just like the bird one, they knew how the story would end, and yet they walked anyway. Because what mattered wasn't the sun, it was each other. Even in the dark, there are stars.
Back home on her hill, memories of the Merkel's many encounters along the way came circling back into her mind. None of her new acquaintances had been able to answer her burning question, but they hadn't been a waste of time either. She knew not if the sun would return tomorrow, in another decade, century, or never. She knew now, however, that she didn't need to know. She had the dark, and in it, anything seemed possible. So busy with her search for answers, ever since she'd left home, she'd completely forgotten to look up. The stars twinkled in the night sky, and there were so many, and they kept her good company. If only a little rock-picking Merkel could know that the seemingly tiny stars were in fact thousands upon thousands of suns. The end.
The Midnight Walk doesn't tell you your grief will go away, he doesn't rush it, he doesn't clean it up, he just sits with you and teaches you how to hold a match again, to make space for fire, for hope, for healing, and maybe that's what we need. Because in a world that's called transactional and often cruel, it's hard not to shut down, not become like what hurt us. But this game reminds you, you don't have to. Whether you return the sun or not, the Midnight Walk leaves you wondering, what parts of ourselves do we forget and what are we willing to remember? And in the end, as the Soul Fisher said,
Once upon a time, some folk on the other side of this and that had the most strange and beautiful dream. I hope that tonight you caught a glimpse of it, and I wish you the levity and grace to smile in the darkest of times and on the way down your midnight walk.